week, we're in Sudan to explore the vast ancient ruins that tourists rarely visit.
There are about 220 pyramids here, which is a lot more than the entire country of Egypt.
You can just see them for kind of miles, quite.
We go behind the scenes at one of Havana's hidden restaurants. And I'm in Peru, getting to grips with this acrobatic and very noisy dance. First up this week, we're taking a road trip through Sudan. It's a country that's been marked by conflict in recent years, and some regions are still off limits to tourists. But it is possible, with careful planning, to go and explore some of the country's amazing archaeological sites. Pyramids and temples that date back thousands of years. We sent Benjamin Zand in search of the remains of an ancient kingdom 200 kilometers north of the capital, Khartoum.
Hey guys, high fives from the car. How's it going? Nice to see you. I'm going to give you a hug soon. How's it going? Nice to see you, man.
How's it going, man?
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, no problem, for sure.
So, where are we going?
We're going to the Naga temples and the Meru pyramids.
Okay,
Yeah.
how long have we got today?
About like 4 or 5 hours.
That's a long drive. Probably should go. Do you have any Sudanese card games that we can play?
You can put on your headphones and listen to your own music.
That's not a game, that's just being antisocial.
Yeah, that's being Sudanese.
And so we were off, on a very long and very hot road trip. Soon, it was time for our first stop, coffee. The Sudanese love their coffee, and for good reason.
Does it annoy you that not many people know about these pyramids?
It actually does, because Sudan has a very rich history, because like the country is so diverse, it's huge. It was one of the biggest countries in Africa. So that brings like a lot of diversity because we're influenced by Arabs, African countries, and everything. But people don't know about all of that. People only know about what the media usually shows, the wars, the starvations, blah, blah, blah. Exactly. It doesn't show anything that's rich, anything that would actually interest people into coming here. They wouldn't even believe it. They're like, okay, pyramids, Egypt. Nile, Egypt.
Sudan have a very rich culture. It's very diverse, but still, like, no people like actually know about it. And sometimes that's really kind of make you sad, because like this country have like a lot of potential, a lot of
history, exactly.
As we set off again, we soon came across the ancient city of Naga.
I can only imagine the civilization that was here, that did this. It's like walking in history.
It's the middle of nowhere.
It's like just bug wire, that's it, that I can go through easily.
It's protected by like a 12-year-old kid.
Yeah.
It's beautiful though. Oh, look at that, the engravings on there.
Like...
This is a ruined ancient city, one of the largest ruined sites in the country. Back in the day, it was an important part of the Cushitic kingdom of Meroe, due to its proximity to the Nile, and it served as a bridge between the Mediterranean world and Africa. But now, it lies pretty much unprotected. The only real protection here comes from a group of villagers who periodically visit the well to get water.
This is the closest thing to security of these temples. These are the local villagers who came here to get water. That's pretty much it, there's no one else around.
As we explored further, we found some bones on the other side of the ruins.
There are bones in there.
I know. That is actually crazy though.
It is.
Looks like thigh bones.
It looks raw, like it's so untouched. No one's been inside.
As it was getting late, we journeyed on, The roads here are long, and the sun sets fast. And soon we realised the pyramids would have to wait till the following day. We stopped at a roadside restaurant to eat.
We're having shaya, which is sort of a barbecue, but not your own idea of what barbecue is. Then there's food, which is the local, traditional food in Sudan. Basically, everyone here eats it.
After the meal, as we had nowhere to stay, we asked around and found a man willing to accommodate us. The only catch was that we were going to be sleeping outside.
We're actually sleeping outside.
Which, to my surprise, isn't all that uncommon here in Sudan.
So do people actually sleep outside in Sudan?
Basically, in towns, most people sleep outside because the sun works as a natural alarm. They mostly need to wake up early, like first break of light, to go as their farmers and stuff.
Me and my new friends drifted off. The next morning, it was finally time to see what we came here for. We got up early and made a quick stop at a coffee shop a mile away from the pyramids. Despite being so close, the owner told me neither he or any of his friends or family had ever been taught the history of the pyramids.
Growing up, did you kind of tell each other stories about what the pyramids were?
والله بتسمع بعض الشيء لكن ما كل المعلومات هي بتجي صحيحة.
Did people used to be scared of the pyramids?
يلا ما بيخافوا لكن المسألة كان ما بيعرفوا عنها حاجة. يعني في الفترة دي يقول لي التراث بتاع البلد دي كانت دلوكة والصوت
Then we journeyed on to see them for ourselves. On arrival, it was more impressive than I had imagined. We had the entire place to ourselves.
Whoa. How'd you feel?
Amazing.
You made it.
We made it. My legs, I can't feel my legs.
All right, so we're actually in the middle of the desert, kind of.
Like we got history for ourselves.
Look at it, it's just crazy. And they just sit here completely unguarded. Look at it, this is just like the actual desert.
These Nubian pyramids are over 4,000 years old and are a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Despite that though, they're completely deserted. Visitor numbers are tiny, about 15,000 a year compared to the millions that go to the pyramids in Egypt. And due to being completely unprotected, the pyramids and the history here have been damaged and vandalized.
Even though clearly not many have respected it.
Still, it was like nothing I'd ever seen.
The door is even unlocked to one of the pyramids.
Mazen gave me a bit of a history lesson on what I was seeing.
There are more pyramids in this section alone than in the entire Egypt. It's about 220 pyramids. You can notice that most of the heads of the pyramids are chopped off. That's an Italian explorer. He came here in the 1830s and he chopped off like 40 pyramids searching for gold. And we still don't know what he found.
Do you know what they were used for?
Yes, they were actually tombs for the black pharaohs and queens back in the days. They buried them here with their belongings, gold and everything. It's a sort of respect for the kings of Kush.
What's the difference between these pyramids and those in Egypt?
It's mostly the size. The pyramids in Egypt are a lot bigger. These would go up to 40 meters. But then again, the number of the pyramids themselves makes the difference. There are about 220 pyramids here, which is a lot more than the entire country of Egypt, like the pyramids there.
Just on this desert?
Just on this desert alone.
You can just see them for kind of miles, can't you?
Exactly.
It was coming to the end of an unexpected and surprising trip. I had seen a side of Sudan that I never thought I would. The history and stories Sudan holds are things you don't hear about too often. But when you see them for yourself, it's something you'll remember forever.
Next up on the travel show, we're in Cuba's capital, Havana, meeting the chef who set up a restaurant in his flat at the top of a tower block.
El restaurante está ahí. Ahorita lo voy a subir arriba.
Pero para nosotros los cubanos, en el momento que se permite tener pequeños negocios, solo lo podíamos hacer en nuestras casas. El restaurante particular empezó muy simple. Aquí en este lugar había una cama debajo de la ventana. Muchas veces mis vecinos me prestaban las sillas cuando tenía un grupo que no me alcanzaba.
Te invito a mi cocina. Y si comenzamos con unas pequeñas cocinas como esta.
¿Solo las dos?
Sí. Le voy a hacer los camarones tropicales, que es una receta típica mía, que son más que gambas salteadas en una salsa de miel con piripiri y salsa soya. El aguacate, mango y una cuchara de cebolla rosada. Siento pasión. Como mismo me gusta comer, sí, lo necesito. Si no cocino, no me siento bien.
Muchos amigos también me dieron muchos de los objetos que hay aquí, me los daban al crédito. Ellos tienen casas como de decoración o de antigüedades y nada, surgió poco a poco. Lo que más me gusta de este restaurante es la vista. La vista es el 90% de los comentarios que hacen todos mis clientes. El restaurante particular es un restaurante igual que cualquier otro en cualquier otra parte del mundo, solo que ellos no tienen embargo y encuentran los productos más fáciles. Aquí es difícil todo, pero con poco se puede hacer mucho también cuando tienes creatividad y cuando tienes deseos.
Still to come on this week's travel show.
I join a dance-off with a difference in Peru's capital, Lima.
Oh, that was hard work. So don't go away. The Travel Show, your essential guide wherever you're heading.
Hello, I'm Michelle Yana-Chan, your global guide with top tips on the world's best events in the coming month. Starting in England, Hull is the UK's City of Culture this year, a 365-day event which kicked off with fireworks and light projections downtown. There'll be art installations across the city, as well as poetry readings, rock gigs and photography exhibitions. The city will be hosting the Turner Prize, the renowned annual arts award at the Ferrens Gallery, as well as concerts and performances throughout the year, from Mozart to Ziggy Stardust. The social festival, usually a very British affair, is taking its house and techno to Mexico and Colombia this year, playing on March 17th and 18th in both nations' capitals. It might be even noisier in Gadmen, Switzerland over the weekend, February 25th, 26th. At the International Dog Sledding Race, there'll be more than 100 teams of mushers and dogs, and at a slower pace there'll also be dog sled rides for kids, while spectators wait for the winning team to arrive. Staying in the snow in the Austrian Tyrol, the lifts closed to ordinary skiers to make way for the cult ski race White Thrill, which takes place in St. Anton am Arlberg. On April 22nd, over 500 skiers, snowboarders and telemark skiers gather on the Beluga Ridge for a mass start. Perhaps the most intimidating challenge is the well-named Pain Mountain. The record is 8 minutes and 14 seconds. The Cypriot port of Paphos becomes the European City of Culture this year. There'll be street theatre and outdoor art installations, a mix of Arab and Eastern music from the Kuri Ensemble, and later in the year the Berlin Philharmonic is performing. Venues are all outdoors, open-air concerts, cinema screenings on beaches and outdoor exhibitions along the Akamas Peninsula. In the Czech Republic, the Shockproof Film Festival plays February 28th through March 5th. From the capital Prague to Brno to Hradec Králové, this alternative festival touts itself as lowbrow and in bad taste, from the ludicrous and bizarre to camp and controversial. Back in Colombia, the Vallenato Legend Festival plays April 26th through 30th. Coming together will be the best composers and performers of this genre of music. Judges are on the hunt for the best drummers, guacharaca players, lyricists and singers. But it's really the accordion players who steal the show. The winner is crowned Rey Vallenato, and then every 10 years, and this year is one of those, a decade of winners compete against one another to be anointed King of Kings. The Disposable Film Festival plays in San Francisco, April 7th through 10th. Here's a selection of some of the most innovative films, shot, for example, with the help of a 3D printer or entirely on a smartphone. There'll be workshops, panel discussions, a competition showing quirky online shorts, and of course, after parties. Finally, it's time to dig out that feathered headdress. Carnival is fast approaching. Some of my favourite places include the cities of Salvador and Olinda in Brazil, which are arguably more authentic destinations than Rio. The partying kicks off February 23rd, and in cooler climes, Cologne in Germany begins its feasting and drinking at precisely 11:11 a.m. on February 23rd. That's my global guide this month. Let me know what's happening in the place where you live or where you love. We're on email and across social media. Until next time, happy traveling.
And finally this week here in Lima, I'm off to the outskirts of the city to find out about a 500-year-old tradition that was once driven underground and is now enjoying something of a revival. Some people even say it could have been the inspiration for breakdancing. It's actually called scissor dancing, and you guessed it, I'm going to see if I can make the cut.
The origin of the Peruvian scissor dance is shrouded in mystery. But many believe the tradition began up in the highlands of the Andes as an act of worship to the mountain gods. In the 1500s, the dance was performed to show resistance to Spanish rule. The movements displayed the performer's dexterity, and the scissors represented their resistance to pain. But the conquistadors thought it was inspired by the devil, and it was banned. Despite the ban, the tradition survived, and the twisting, turning dance moves were passed down from generation to generation. Now, its importance in Peru's history has been recognized by UNESCO. And its back-breaking moves would put many breakdancers to shame.
This dance has a different set. For example, the most popular is acrobatics, and it looks like similar like breakdance. But they never leave the scissor. That's the big difference. It's harder to learn. It's harder than, for example, than dance like breakdance.
Although the scissors aren't sharpened, learning to control them while dancing and leaping can take years.
Almost all of them start when they are very child, and it has very long years to start. For example, 5 or 10 years. It depends on the dancer.
Today, teams from 2 different towns are having a scissor dance duel. These battles can last for up to 10 hours as the performers move and spin to the music. It seems like anything goes, but the one rule is that you absolutely cannot drop the scissors.
Hola!
And I'm going to get a lesson to see how it's done.
Don't shake hands with those. So the top one stays still, and the bottom one... Oh, okay. It's all in the thumb. The thumb and the wrist.
First, I've got to get to grips with the scissors. The aim is to hit the handles together in time to the music. The blunt blades aren't connected, so holding them in position is really tricky.
There is no way I'm going to be able to do this and coordinate my feet.
Comencé con cucharas, practicando con cucharas. Y de ahí me regalaron las tijeras como a los 3 años. Las tijeras me regalaron a los 3 años y...
And it's not just mastering the scissors.
Ah, this is the one that makes your knees bleed.
Learning the dance moves takes some serious commitment.
Dos, tres. Does it hurt to do the jumps and land on your back? Does it hurt your head, your knees? Do you have injuries?
Sí, siempre hay, por ejemplo, me he raspado la rodilla, pero son raspones, lesiones fuertes y pocas veces.
Is that blood on your trousers?
¿Es sangre?
Sí, me raspé.
Wow, that's dedication.
Pero sin dolor no hay triunfo, por decirlo.
Oh, and I'm getting a hat. Gosh, as if it's not hard enough. Wow.
After a few minutes, I'm exhausted. I can't even imagine how hard it would be to do these moves up in the Andes, where the thin air makes everything so much harder. These guys are true athletes.
Oh, that was hard work. That was so much harder than I expected. I've got newfound respect for these guys. But sadly, that's all we've got time for in this week's show. Coming up next week.
Somebody at the pub told me that tonight is supposed to be the coldest night of the year. So I'm glad I'm going into an unheated church to sleep.
Krista's braving the English weather to find out why more and more people are camping out in old churches.
Well, do join us for that if you can. And don't forget, if you want to follow the rest of the Travel Show team on their journeys in real time, you can sign up to our social media feeds. All the details are on your screen now. But in the meantime, from me, Carmen Roberts, and the rest of the Travel Show team here in Lima, it's goodbye. But let me leave you with some more scissor dancing.